that topic, so just to kind of cycle back to that memo that I was talking about the National Guard response units. So they're aiming originally. I remember the first memo that we saw was in September, and it was dated for an April deployment date. They
Hmm.
want everything to start being in place by January. So, knowing that the emergency usage of the National Guard by Governor Kathy Hochul for the subway crime rave after 20 the pandemic in 2020, that's expiring soon. I believe by the end of this year. So then, January, of
Hmm.
course, they get their chance to try to federalize the New York National Guard. They do that while Mamdani's getting sworn in. You're gonna have a big problem here in New York City. It's going to be very bad. And they're going to want that. They want to provoke people. They want to goad people into responding. And that's the most important thing is that we have to remember that despite what they try to do, we have to respond peacefully as
Yeah.
much as possible because they want an excuse at every turn to declare martial law. And to that end, at No Kings here in Staten Island, did you notice a guy wearing what looked like, I want to say like green journalistic outfit, like with a vest and everything? He had press
Yes, he was.
credentials.
He was standing near me. He was standing near me.
Did
Actually,
you see him walking around with a cell phone very slowly, getting everybody's face?
no, it was. I'm thinking of there was somebody. I don't know if we're talking about the same person, but there was one. Um, there was one person who was riding a bike. Um, he was riding a bike along the sidewalk on Victory Boulevard, and uh, it got a little crowded. It was right outside the hardware store, Ace Hardware, and it got a little crowded, so it became a little difficult for him to move past us. But he started screaming at us about whatever. I don't know what it was. Maybe, Charlie Kirk this, Trump that, whatever. And people started taking, videos of him, and then they started to shout him down. And then he eventually left. Is that who we're talking about?
No, that's actually interesting though. I didn't know there was an agitator at the protest.
Yeah.
I assumed there would be, but I didn't see any on our end because I was on the other side of the street. So ICE has this new technology. Any of the acronym goons, they all have this new technology. It's a cell phone. They're going around scanning citizens' faces to get a record of who they are and check their citizenship. I believe they were at the No Kings rallies here in New York, especially here in Staten Island, using that technology on all of us to figure out who we were and where we're from and if we're citizens or not.
Hmm.
At least they were probably piloting it here because I could tell that that press pass wasn't real, and that's what they do.